viewers at home, it's good to have you on this program, Future Ambassadors. I'm Amotola Adoka Ogundele. Today we are looking at exam malpractice. We want to look at exam malpractice because we know that it's something that is now like a normal thing in most schools. So we need to curb out the rate at which people are getting involved in exam malpractices. And before then, education is as old as man, both traditionally and Western part of type of education. So we cannot say education is not important. Education is very, very important because it has a major role to play both in our educational system and in our society. But in all this, we still have exam malpractice. So why exam malpractice? Is it that the teachers are not teaching properly or to the understanding of the student, or is it that the students are not really ready to learn? This is how much more we'll be looking at on today's program. And I'm having some wonderful youths today in the program that'll be telling us more about exam malpractice because they are in the system, so they know what is happening. I'm having Favor Umwaguma. You're welcome to this program. And I'm also having Oluwashemu Ashiru. You're welcome to this program. So it's good to have you once again in this program. So we are looking at exam malpractice. But for then, let's look at education. Do you think education is something that is very, very important?
Education is very important. Although in Nigeria it may seem as if education is not important. Education is very important in the sense that it's a path finder for you.
Okay.
It opens a new experience for you. It's a world on its own entirely, because you get to find new things, meet new people, learn new cultures. That's education. You just being in the kitchen, or it's both formal, informal. It's all part of education.
Okay. Let me hear from Sheun Oluwaseun. What can you say about education?
Education, when you're educated, people tend to believe that you are knowledgeable. When you talk, people want to hear more from you because they feel you know what you are talking about.
Okay.
You can talk to large audience because they feel you are confident in what you do and what you know. So education is really, really important for everybody to have. It is.
Okay. So with education, there will be examination, I guess so.
Yes.
So do you think examination is something that should be ruled out, or we should just continue having education without examination?
There's nothing in life that doesn't have examination. Even as, like, when we go through the travels of life, that's an examination on its own. So
Okay.
there is nothing you go through in life that doesn't require an examination. Even when you go to the hospital, you undergo examination. So examination is part and parcel of life in itself. So examination is very, very important. It shouldn't be scrapped out.
Okay. From you, do you think examination is something that is necessary?
Yes, examination is necessary because when teachers and lecturers teach, they want to know if what they've actually taught you, you know it very well, and when you read, you can actually put some things down. So examination makes us to think more because when you read, you go back on what your teachers and lecturers have taught you to know and ascertain if truly, yes, I understand this.
Okay. So now, why do we now have exam malpractices? Exam malpractice is something like that is common in most schools. I don't know why it is now like a norm. When people do it, they don't see anything wrong with it any longer. So why exam malpractice?
No, exam malpractice due to some lazy students, lazy parents that they don't care about though they are paying the fees, but they don't really put much thinking into, okay, if they are doing well or they are not. They just want to know, okay, be in school, I'll pay the fees, anything you need, tell me. But they are not checking their children's academic background and the corrupt educational system we have in Nigeria also. It is also the officials in school, external officials that come, when you bribe them with a little, they feel relaxed and do whatever you want. All this kind of thing gives students morale that, oh, don't let us read. In as much when we get to the exam or when we pay them what we want to read, all these things we want to read, we'll still see it now. Don't let us read, Jerry. All this kind of motivations. Nowadays, it's very, very rare to pull out brilliant students due to maybe secondary school they went to. In universities now, there are a lot of students lagging behind because some lecturers won't even want to take bribe for them, and that's what they've done in their secondary school exams very well. Be like, this thing was easy in secondary school, now why now in university? Because there are CCTV cameras in most universities. Examinations or now they be like, they cannot do it. That's why some of them, it is now affecting most people in university now, because they cannot read what they've not been doing before. Just like what you've not been doing before, now you now want to start doing it. It will kind of be giving you this kind of discomfort in your body.
Okay.
But when you've been doing it from start, that you've been reading, that's why most students drop out from school, because they can't cope again. Because some examination in university now, they give you 6 questions, answer 5. You know it's only one you cannot answer. You be like, no, I cannot do this one. One first semester, they have already, like, out of 9 courses, I already have like 7 or 6 carryovers. You be like, well, I'm not even going to school again, because they feel it's not easy for them. Examination malpractice is everywhere, and it has eaten deep into the educational system.
Let's hear from you, Favor. What can you say about examination malpractice?
Examination malpractice has been happening from time immemorial. As far back as 1914, during senior Cambridge local examination, it was reported that a day to the examination, there were already rumors that the papers had leaked. So when you see that things like this have been happening from time immemorial, you begin to see that the foundation it's already been shaken ever since. So examination malpractice, we're all humans. So when we are, how do I put it, when we are caged, it seems like we tend to become more innovative and trying to find ways around it, because it's like, should I say, it's like a puzzle. Okay. So examination malpractice, it's very examination malpractice, it's a very bad thing, but it looks like it has become part and parcel of Nigerians.
Okay.
And there's this body in Netherlands, CITO, an examination body. When in Netherlands, they don't, how do I put it, the examination body like NECO or WAEC, they don't come into the they don't come into the, how do I put it, into the examination center.
Okay.
They rather allow the school principals and the teachers, staffs to look over the students, because they feel like the students should they should be free. They shouldn't they have come of age. They've come of age. They shouldn't be doing they shouldn't be into examination malpractice.
Okay.
So when we have an environment like that, I think examination malpractice would reduce.
Okay, when you place confidence in
those students, when we place confidence,
and not just that, when they are properly educated.
Yeah,
because if they are not, if the sound education is not there, I don't think they can have that confidence that this student can do without malpractice.
Yeah.
So, but what can you actually say are the causes of this exam malpractice?
It could be lack of good upbringing, poor teaching quality. Like now, poor teaching quality, when as a teacher you're supposed to see it as a hobby.
In teaching.
You're supposed to love it. It's something you should crave, something that you can't live without.
Okay.
You should be passionate about. So when teachers don't see it, when they are not incentivized, like you don't give them this motivation, their paycheck is not as in comparison with other professions. It's meager. It would affect the student, because what they will pass on to the kids will not be sound education.
Okay, but don't you think also sometimes we have teachers that are not really have big teachers, let me call them that way, because there are no jobs, so people now feel, okay, I can easily apply in a private school and get a job because I'm a graduate, but actually I didn't study education. So don't you think that's one of the reasons that is affecting our educational system? Because if actually a teacher that has really gone through teachers college, gone through all the rudiments to become a teacher, will know how to impart knowledge into the student.
Yes.
But someone that just finished, maybe I went to study mass communication, or I study
and becomes a teacher.
And now because there's no job, I have to apply in the school. I might not really have that knowledge of how to impart they not the impart what I'm supposed to impart into the lives of those students.
It is now a want and not a need. Yes.
Yeah.
Education. When you see education as something you love, you're passionate about, you have love for kids. There's you go
Extra mile.
you would go the extra mile to to make sure that these kids are put through and through. So once you don't have key teachers that are trying to impact knowledge into the lives of the children, you find that examination malpractice begins to creep in.
Okay, but can you really say, let me go to Shehu now, can you say this exam malpractice, I think sometimes the foundation matters, because when you, like you just talked about teachers imparting to the young children's life, before they get into maybe teenage age or something, by the time they are still in primary school, you have already given them sound education, and they enter into secondary school, common entrance, is it common entrance the right for primary school to secondary school? I think those ideas of wanting exam malpractice might not be there. What do you think about that?
Yes, about that. You know, there are some teachers that they themselves, they are product of examination malpractice. There are some teachers that they got their certificate through dubious means.
Okay.
I've seen a situation like that before. The auntie, she came out, I think, with the second class up, and she was like, she cannot teach you. They should just give her place that she'll be selling pop-off in our school. My principal was like, is she? She was like, yes, so that they should just please give her place and be selling pop-off. This kind of person, private school. She was being sincere with her principal that day. My principal, when he announced it on the assembly, I was like, wow, he graduates with a very good result. But it shows that she didn't get that result in a plain way.
Okay.
She got it through a dubious means. So all these kind of things matters. You know, when you put someone in charge of kids, there should be someone that can impact good things in their life. That's why parents themselves, when they see that, okay, my small child has a teacher that is teaching me in school, how do you see this? Tend to ask them questions. How do you see that your teacher, is she okay? Does she teach you well? During leisure times, how does she relate with you guys? During class, how well does she ask questions? You know, as they are small, little things. Mommy, she surely asks us questions. Mommy, no, she will just teach us and go and sit down. All this kind of thing matters. If the kind of teacher is someone that just teach them and go and sit down with no questions, those kind of parents should be able to hold a PTA meeting. Maybe during PTA meetings, talk to the owner of the school that this kind of teacher in charge of this class who only teaches and doesn't ask questions. That's the report my child gave me at home. All this kind of thing will help those students, because when they put them with someone that teaches them and asks questions
and make them to think
very well, they themselves, they will be brought up very well, that even when they are in GS1, GS2, they will be used to that kind of lifestyle. Because even in junior schools now, there are rules that don't beat student, don't beat this. That's why some students, they feel so relaxed that even if I don't do my assignment or this, they will not beat me. Nobody will beat me, all this kind of thing. But when you already have because they say the small is when something you do from small is what you will continue doing. That's what will be in your head. But a child that maybe from small now doesn't do assignment or doesn't even have parents that take care of him or her, that, oh yeah, go and carry your book, do this, do that. When he or she gets to secondary school,
the same thing
will be happening. But someone that is already used to that kind of lifestyle from the start, once he or she gets to junior secondary school like this, it is that same lifestyle that will still be in that person. If that person doesn't join bad gangs or anything, because someone that is not good from the beginning might actually be good at the higher level, and someone that is good at the beginning might actually get spot at the higher level. It is one or two. So that's why parents must always take care of their child and ensures that school that their children are, they know the in and out of it, because most schools now, God should forgive personally, sincerely.
Okay, so now is it actually that the school are really part of the, now she just mentioned the school, because I find out that earlier on we were talking about when people want to write work, that sometimes they pay the invigilators and all that. Do you think is the school's fault now, or the parents' fault that would have maybe a private school, so all of them want their children to pass the exams, and the proprietor or the owner of the school doesn't want the school to go down, so it wants more population and just have to key into what the parents want?
It's both the parents and the school's fault. It's both the parents and the school fault. The school is just, how would I put it? It's just capitalism. They just want profit. And
Okay.
like she said, once once the once parents find a school that is doing very very well in education, it becomes like a PR, like a public relation where
That will attract
parents
other people.
parent yeah that will attract that will attract people to them. So, and also the parents fault in the sense that they don't check up on their kids. Things like these little things matter, like checking up on your kids, asking them questions. All these things would help like shape them up for the future.
Okay. So now we have looked at some of the causes of exam malpractices. So what about how to prevent this? No, before we go into how to prevent, what about? Well, let's look at the forms of exam malpractices that we have. Some of the forms, because some people will write on their palm, some people will just have a little note. Will you call that exam malpractice?
Might
If you just have a little jotter to remind you of, maybe you wrote you don't know how to spell lolugard, and you now wrote it in a small paper just to remind you of how to spell it. Is that malpractice? Let's know the forms.
might examination malpractice, although it's already becoming technological in the sense that nowadays you find kids using their Apple Watch, um, getting it into the examination hall. You find sometimes even during WAEC, sometimes you find them writing the answers on calculators. Yes, it was done.
Okay.
It was done during my time in my school. That was in secondary school. You find students writing the answers in
Calculator.
calculators. Yes.
Okay.
Or writing on your leg.
That one is like
That
the
is
old
that's the
format.
old format. But now students have improvised new means of. So when you want to, if you want to curb things like this, now they use metal detectors. Once you use metal detectors around this, at least you could get people who are using phones and wristwatches to smuggle in answers into the examination hall.
Okay. Let's hear other forms. Do you have any other form that you want
There
to
are
tell us?
impersonations. Impersonations like getting other people to
Come and sit
do
for the
your
exam.
exam for you. And most parents even know about this because they know that my child is to write WAEC.
Especially when it is mathematics.
You don't have it for someone
But
that
ma,
wants to write maths.
it can be curbed. Impersonation can be curbed. That's the reason why there is biometric fingerprints. So once a person
That's
because
for
one
an external
yes,
examination, I guess. So,
mm,
like for
your
GC, for WAEC, and all
yes,
those.
your
kind of
fingerprints cannot change. Your fingerprint is not the same as
Somebody else's own.
somebody else's fingerprint. So once they detect that the person that wrote this, then they will know that there's someone is impersonating
But
the
what
other
if the
person.
official has been bribed? You know, when they do this impersonation thing, one or two people coordinating the exam, we already know
Aware
that
of it.
this kind of person is not coming for this exam, another person that is coming to write. So that kind of person, they won't even bother doing any biometrics. They already know you are writing for somebody. It is not your exam. So they will not even bother doing any biometrics, anything.
But the when you check the WAEC when they release the results, you'll notice that they bring out people.
Will they go and check again
Yes,
to check the fingerprint?
They do. That's why you see that there are list of people that have that their results have not yet been released.
We've been
That's
having
why-
that for a long time. The results will not be
That
released.
the results have not been. That's because sometimes due to irregularities in the examination, that's why they don't release the results. Even JAMB also adopts the same thing.
But one thing I want to know is that formerly, when I was still in secondary school, when I was writing WAEC, I know that was a long time ago. People don't pass WAEC easily like that. No, you have to write and write. You have to read and read. You have GC. Then there was not like NECO and all that. We also have GC and WAEC. You have to read and read and read and read. And still, you just have maybe 2 papers or 3 papers. You'll be waiting for another. And maybe the others are P's and something. But now you see children just write WAEC and everything boom.
6
They have
A's,
5 A's,
B's.
7 A's. You just
Mine is
so I don't know whether it's the format of teaching that has changed, or because of technology, or because they are having the exam easy now, or I don't know.
No, it's let me call it examination malpractice, because nowadays there is almost no way you go now that you can't find a miracle center where they want to use. You find them teaching students wanting to like pass them, and you find them on the day of the exam. they give them sheet of paper, and there's this thing that WAEC is doing. I've forgotten the technology used. So they insert something where once you try to snap the paper and send it to the person, like the person that you want to give the examination to.
This might be outside.
They will know that this is where it is coming from. So
Okay.
they get
Track
the person.
it.
Yeah, they track the person.
Okay, so but with this examination malpractice, but do you think is going to have, what is the effect? What is the effect on our educational system, on our society as a whole? Because earlier on I said it's not education is not just affecting just our educational system, is also our it affects both our society. So with this malpractice, do you think, what is the effect on our society?
Man, you not be able to so how would I put it, to rely on your results, is like she said, in our school where
A teacher
a
couldn't
teacher,
teach and she
and
was
she begged to get to use a shop to sell beverage, to sell stuffs. So once you can't rely on your results, it means you used dubious means to get the result.
so with exam malpractice, what is the effect on our society?
You know, nowadays we have quack doctors, quack engineers, quack people that they are product of exam malpractice. They just have the results. They don't know what to use it for. They don't even have anything in their head. All this kind of thing, it causes a lot in our society, because a doctor that doesn't even know what to do in the lab,
A lot of
just
people
do
will
rubbish.
die.
People will die. Engineers that can't construct good roads.
Maybe that's why we are having problems in our
Maybe.
country
All
today,
these
because
things.
we don't have
Because-
we can't construct, we don't have cars of our own, just few people that are producing
Because people
cars.
that actually read the book, that they know what they are doing exactly, didn't get the job. It is people that got the result through dubious means
because
that
they
are
might be
there,
with higher grades,
Yes.
and people that really struggle to
get the
read
result
might
and
live
know
with
what
a
they are
lower
doing,
class
and got out with a lower class. I feel like all these ones, they are on serious. But most of these people with the first class that will just carry the result, they don't have anything in their head. They will just do lot of, some doctors now, lot of patients have died through their carelessness, because they don't know what to do. They are just there as figureheads. So all this kind of thing, it has effect on the society. You are just carrying the title of being a doctor, or being a
graduate.
lawyer, or being a graduate, that yes, I'm a graduate, I finished from so school. But the results that you have, you can't even boast of it, that yes, I worked for this, I did that. So
Okay.
all this kind of thing has their effects.
I feel like the reliance on certificates over skill is one of the reasons why we have examination malpractice.
Okay.
In the sense that certificates have been glorified. This term certificate, once you say the name certificate like this, everybody does their hearts for you. Over
Skills,
you
people that can.
being over you being skillful. Once you have this mindset of, yes, I want to get the certificate, there's nothing you would not want to do
To get it.
to get the certificate.
So I think, okay, now what should you advise some of the youth there, like yourself, because you're in higher institution, you see what is happening, and you can, at least you've seen one or two things happening in the society. What do you have to tell them? Should they continue that means?
That's not an advisable. That's not an advisable thing to do. You shouldn't go into examination malpractice, because later in life, it's going to affect you in one way or the other. You don't even know where you're going to end up. You don't know where you're going to end up. You might end up in a conference and you might be asked this question, and you're not able to respond to the question. Like let's say you want to broker a multimillionaire deal now, and you're asked a simple question which anybody can answer, and you can't answer it because you were engaged while others were studying, reading, burning the candle during the night. You were doing other things and you couldn't read. Things like this might affect you in the future, so because you don't know where you're going to end up.
Thank you very much. From Sheung, what do you have to tell people at home?
If you've been engaging in examination malpractice, stop it. It doesn't speak well of you. Even students around you that don't do examination malpractice, when you meet later in future, even if they are to help you, they might think this certificate with this person isn't credible. If I decide to award you this job and you do a nonsense thing for me, it will be at my loss. So I feel like that's why some people will be like, this guy, we went to school together, but he's not helping me. It is that person that knows the reason why he or she is not helping you, because they know the kind of thing you went through in school to do just to make sure you get your result, not as if you did it in a plain and straight way. So when you don't do examination malpractice, you tend to build a good image for yourself among your colleagues, because you never can tell which of your colleagues can bring you up when you meet in future.
Okay, thank you very much. You've spoken well. You've heard it from my two wonderful guests in the studio. They've spoken a lot about exam malpractice. So if you're getting involved in it, or if you're already involved in it as a parent, a student, try and stop it, because it won't speak well of you in the future. Until come your way again on the same program next week. Bye bye.